Good morning. For the record, it is July 1st, 2021. The year is flying by. This is Nathan Klug, and this is our weekly AMO and BDA meeting and training. And today we have special guests on to be able to talk about their new software that they're rolling out. They're already a tech partner of ours that we talk about a lot with the other products that they have. We're excited to what they're rolling out now, because this gives us a very huge opportunity to get into a different space a little bit and be able to talk to some different agents. I stopped myself because I was going to start stealing a little bit of their thunder. So I'm not going to steal any of their thunder. I'm going to let them do their job on this side. But without any further ado, John, are you going to take over the main point of it, or should I have Dane start?
Oh yeah, Dane, would you like to start? I can start. We really didn't rehearse this, so whatever you guys want to do.
I was gonna say, I suppose before I go over to Dane, like I said, just on our side, like I said, this is a small group. Everyone here, we're all distributors, so we work with a bunch of different agents. So this is kind of once again, an internal meeting for us to
very good.
Understand the information, so that when we take this to other places, we want to have really at the end of this 1 to 3 simple value propositions of why
you fall off the face of the earth.
I lost you, Nathan.
How about you guys start talking?
We'll just go then.
Yeah. Hey, let me just tell you a bit about who I am. So for context, I'm the guy in the field. I've been in this space for 33 years. At the kitchen table teaching Joe Neer Campbell about insurance, helped develop the My New Retirement, the IUL process. So I'm the field guy that works with John, and we've got another partner that developed these tech tools for guys like you that can use for your business practice. So for 30 plus years, I've been hearing consumers say, this is what I want. And so we've taken that time to build it, tremendous amount of resources and time and effort and capital to build this. If you're using the My New Retirement, the IUL side of the equation, kudos, it's a great tool. But what John's going to share with you today is our latest development, which, like Nathan mentioned, surrounds a whole life approach, almost like the bank on yourself model. So if you're in that space, or you know people that could benefit from that, we're excited to share this with you, because we know that the market is massive when it comes to guys and gals that offer the whole life program. But I've been an IUL guy since 1994, so my niche has been primarily IUL. So I'm transitioning into a new world as well. Hopefully you'll like it. John Phillips is my partner on the tech side, and he'll go over the tech stuff. So that's just for context. That's why I'm on here. I don't know much about the technical workings. I just know why it works and all the scripting behind it. So I'll answer any questions at the end if you have some.
Perfect.
All right, I'll go ahead and take it over unless Nathan's back. Was that Nathan?
Yeah, I was just going to make sure that the audio worked. For whatever reason, it cut out. So Dane, I appreciate you picking up the slack. But John, the floor is yours. We want to get as much information as possible. So I'll mute myself for right now. And then just as a quick housekeeping thing, if anybody does have questions, right now we'll let John get through the information, but you can throw them in the chat or write them down. We'll have time afterwards as well to go through questions, even after they're off as well. So John, without any further ado, the floor is yours.
All right, buddy, no problem. Y'all don't need to know who I am. We'll just jump right in. This is called the Debt Action Plan. So we've named this thing. It's a participating whole life debt elimination / banking system. If you've seen some others, Your Family Bank and other things like that, you might be kind of familiar, although this will probably blow you away a little bit more than that does. I won't go into why we use participating whole life. You guys can figure that out on your own, or Dane can kind of go that direction, or we can ask questions later about why that's important for this system. On this page here with Agency Rocket, we do have an overview video that goes over this whole thing, and then just some other fun things. So you can go down here and just get a little bit more integrated with what we've done on this page on Agency Rocket. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And this is the Agency Rocket system. A lot of you folks are using the IUL side of things. Okay. And can you guys hear me? Everybody good? Okay.
I hear you.
All right. So if you're not familiar with the Agency Rocket system,
Not at all.
not at all, Dennis. Okay. Well, shoot.
I was going to say there's going to be. I was going to say start over from pretend you're talking to new people for the most part.
Okay.
At the back end system.
Well, we developed this Agency Rocket system. Let me bring that homepage back up real quick. Okay, so at agencyrocket.com, I'll try to not talk so stinking fast. This is our website. We have an IUL sales system that we developed a few years back, and that's our bread and butter. Okay, so if you want to learn about that, you can click on this products thing, and it will tell you all about the IUL sales system, how we have a prospecting tool that integrates with a CRM that we've developed from scratch. So as folks go to this website, every agent has their own website, by the way. As they go to the website, as they view introductory videos, as they register for webinars, as they ask for more information, their data gets put into Tracker. So those things are very integrated. Tracker keeps track of your business, helps your agents stay on top of things. And then at the end, we close the deal with this IUL analyzer that shows how an IUL compares to other retirement strategies like a 401k, and how it blows the pants off of it. It proves it with numbers. We have this age slider that shows you how everything moves around. It's wonderful for the new agent that is not super familiar with an IUL and all the moving parts, and is also a little bit intimidated going up against Wall Street and other folks that are retirement planners. They might feel like they're a little gun shy, right? This gives them the ammunition, honestly. So I'm not going to go over that one too much unless at the end of this meeting you guys want me to, and I sure will. But we developed this other guy here if you click check it out right here, the Debt Action Plan, which does the whole life thing. So both of these are kind of two different schools of thought, but we built systems for both of them, and they both have their place. As Dane said, Dane's been doing IULs forever. He's really digging this whole life participating debt thing. It's really slick, and there's a lot of opportunity there. Maybe he'll talk to that later about how he sets things up, and he'll use a whole life with an IUL and all kinds of fun stuff. But let me kind of go ahead and dig in. So we talked about Reach, Tracker, and Analyzer just a while ago. Those three components to Agency Rocket. Reach, the My New Retirement system is here. The Debt Action Plan system is still in progress on the Reach side. Okay, you don't need the Reach thing. It's just an awesome bonus. But as folks, here's the concept. We're going to have a website, debtactionplan.com. Maybe Dennis will sign up, and his address will be dennis.debtactionplan.com. And he would send people to that site. And we'd have multiple landing pages where you could send Facebook ads to one, you could send other people, people that you know to another one, and they would register for things and interact with the site. As they do, they get added to Tracker. So let me show you Tracker real quick. This is my Tracker pipeline for the My New Retirement system. Now I have a few pipelines here. I have the Debt Action Plan here at the bottom, which is what I'll show you in a minute. But this is my New Retirement pipeline. These are all my open cases. The red cases means there needs to be some attention paid to those. The yellow ones, they're kind of in the middle. They're really all supposed to be green, to be honest with you. That's the problem, and I'm not doing very well. But you turn something green by just adding an action in the future to it. So here's the thing, guys. This looks a little complicated. We've made this very, very simple for agents. Okay, and we made this system so that people can plug into it and it can be duplicatable. You can show folks exactly how you want them to work these cases. Okay, I'll go to this case's test case real quick, and I'll just turn it green. So what I do is it says the status is yellow. It's yellow because there's no planned activity. We suggest you create a new activity by clicking the new action button below. All right, let's do that. Let's say we're going to set up a task. Put together. I really can't type. Together an illustration. So we're going to set that for Saturday at 10:45. It's going to take us about 30 minutes to do. We're going to save it, and it turned green to this background up here. And if I go back to my pipeline, there should be one green one. There it is. There's one green one. And as you can add new people to your pipeline manually, or you can have them go through the funnel system and they get added as they interact with the website. So you can do two things, right? You can put a huge marketing campaign together and just have people come there, and whoever registers for things, they flow into your pipeline and you're off to the races. Or you can just send a whole bunch of friends that you know to this thing. Either way, okay? So as you progress people through the stages of your pipeline, there comes a time when you're going to have an appointment with them. So let me switch to the debt action plan pipeline and show you kind of, the thing here. So you would go to the top right. I'm going to do this manually, right? Top right, there's a button called New Case right there. I'm going to click it. So I have the opportunity here to either select an existing contact. These are all my fake contacts here, right? By just typing it in, or I can create a new one. Let's do a new one here. And I'm going to have Dennis be my guinea pig today. I'm just going to pretend that's your email address. It's not, but we'll pretend. That guy's going to get an email in a minute, but who cares? Debt action plan is your pipeline. We'll do the lead in, which is just the first stage of the pipeline. I can give it a title here for my case. So two things are happening. I'm creating a contact, and I'm also creating an empty case for the contact. I can create multiple cases for one contact because you might sell them an annuity or an IUL, a whole life, a term, all kinds of fun things. So we'll just say this is going to be Dennis, banking or debt or whatever the heck you want to name it. Okay. I'll say this is a whole life case type, but that doesn't really matter. And I can leave these other two blank. I can fill those in later. So we'll click save. Now it's going to bring us to the case we just created. And it's yellow because there's nothing really planned in the future. But I'm going to go straight to the debt action plan scenarios. Okay. And I'm going to start a new scenario. By the way, I've already set up my debt action plan. I've already uploaded a logo, a custom logo. I've already set my color scheme. Heck, I'll do that real quick. Let me back up. Let me just show you that. If you go to setup right here, you put in your name, your company, your phone, your license number, the primary color of your branding, and your logo. Okay, we're going to generate a report in a minute, and it's going to have all that wonderful branding goodness on it. So I'm just letting you know that that's there. Let me go back. Come here, you go back.
And while you're doing that, John, let me just make a distinction. So Dennis, you've probably already had a conversation with John about what you're going to be talking about right now, and then John's going to walk through with you your debts on a Zoom meeting. So he's assuming you'd either had a conversation with him about, hey, if there were a way to pay off your home and all your debts in a fraction of the time without spending any more money and building wealth simultaneously, would it be worth 30 minutes of your time? That's the elevator pitch. They say yes. Then John is on now a Zoom meeting with you. And that's generally how we're seeing Joe and Mary Campbell, not at the kitchen table. Now it's Zoom meetings all over the planet. Or like John said, you may have received an email from him with a webinar that goes through the story and you liked it and you became a lead in his CRM system, and he looks at it and says, wow, Dennis liked it. Great. You set up an appointment. Now you're on that appointment.
That's right. There's many marketing channels that can get us to this point, right? There's stuff that we're building. There's stuff that you guys might build on your own. There's advertisements, whatever, but we're all getting to this point right here, which is the actual presentation. You've already talked about how great this is. You've told all these wonderful things you can do for them financially. So now here we are. We're going to start this scenario right now, and I'm going to hit this guy in the upper left and make the screen a little bigger. And this is designed to be used with the client if you'd like. You don't have to. You can have a fact-finding sheet that gathers all their debt and everything and then enter it in later. Or you can just go on this with them right in front of you. It works both ways. So Dennis scenario, we'll just call it test. And it just saves in the background. I'm going to go to the next tab. And here's what we're doing. We're going to work our way across these tabs until we get to the end. Okay. So we're going to add some mortgages. So what you want to have this person's information there, and you want to be you're a professional. You're their financial professional. So you do want to get their exact information. You want them to look up their mortgage and give you their balances, et cetera. So we're going to say add a new mortgage debt. We'll call it just house note. Again, typing's not my strong suit. We're going to say there's $300,000 on this note. We're going to have, I don't know, a 3% rate. It's going to tell me my monthly payment needs to be at least $1,265. I'll just do $1,270. but you would obviously get that from their statement. And that is principal and interest only. That's not escrow, taxes, any of that stuff. Let's just go just principal and interest for this one. And now right here, you have the opportunity to put in any overpayments they're making to the principal. Again, it's not the mortgages. I mean, it's not the insurances. It's just only extra they're paying towards their house note. A lot of folks don't do that because they want to put extra payments towards other things with larger interest rates and whatnot, but some do. I'll go ahead and say that he's putting $100 of overpayments. Now, what happened there, when I put my $100 in, it listed it down here. It gives me the opportunity to adjust that slightly down here, and it also listed it up here. Now, it's kind of like TurboTax. As I work through these tabs, it's going to be adding a monthly amount that's going to be your premium when you eventually put the policy together, and a lump sum, which will be your lump sum amount. Okay, we're going to try to identify all kinds of areas to bring money into this policy. Okay, so we've identified $100, and he's okay with that, so we'll leave that. You can add multiple mortgages. Maybe he has multiple properties, but we'll just have this one for Mr. Dennis. Now we're going to talk about Dennis's consumer debt. So we'll add things like Visa cards. Maybe he's got $12,000 on that one. And there's a pretty high rate, 21%. So it tells me the minimum's got to be 330. I'll do 330. And now let's say this is different from the mortgages. The mortgages assumes you're not making any extra payments. On the debts, we kind of assume you are. So instead of saying how much more are you paying on that Visa, we're going to ask what you're actually paying. Now, a lot of people just round it up. Actually, I'm going to round this up to 500. So let's say Dennis just puts a $500 bill on that thing every month to pay off instead of doing the 330. So what happened is that it identified the extra, whatever that is, $170 down here on your consumer debts, and it's over here and it's up here. Okay, I'll add a few more. You guys will get the swing of this real fast. You already do, but Discover, we'll do $10,000 there. We'll do maybe a lower rate, 250, and let's say he's doing also $500 on that one.
If somebody said, I have a credit card, but I pay off the balance every single month, I never carry anything forward, then I wouldn't enter this here, I'm assuming.
I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't enter that as a debt. You don't have any money that you can redirect in that situation, unless you can convince them to carry a balance. I'm not sure I'd advise you to do that. But yeah, you just leave that. And there's other places I can add. If they don't have any debts, that's okay. We can still do some fun things.
So John, on that,
they don't have consumer debt. They might have other debt.
Exactly. Yes,
hey, John, on that auto loan, you've got it revolving. You want to click
right.
installment?
Yep, there we go.
You can change, delineate.
I'll also add an introductory rate for this Discover. Maybe they just got the card. And there's a 0% rate. Maybe it was for 6 months, but maybe he's 3 months in or something, right? So I'm going to go to September 1st. That introductory rate is over. And so the math will calculate that, and then it'll plug in the new rate in whatever that is, 3 months from now. Okay, so we've got that done. I could add more, but you guys get the point. Now, down here, again, I can fine tune this. I can say he doesn't want to put all 505. He just wants 300 of it. Okay, we'll put 300. It'll adjust at the top. But I'll go ahead and say that we're using all of that money from the debts. Now let's go to investments. This is where you'd put your savings accounts, your 401ks, your all that other stuff. So I'm going to do that. Let's say savings is not a qualified account. It's a savings account. We're going to say he's got $20,000 in there, and he's been putting $300 a month into that thing. Oops. There we go. And let's say he's got a 401k. It is qualified, and he's got, let's say, $60,000 in that thing. And he's been putting $300 a month into that one also. Oops, not 3,300.
We don't care about matches.
Say it again.
We don't care about a match.
Not at this point. We're just trying to get them to redirect it. Yes, they will lose the match, so that's got to be factored into the equation. We're not really comparing at this stage. So we're just trying to identify extra money we can put into the policy. Now, in this situation, the 401k is a little funky, right? So I would say in Dennis's situation, we want to leave that alone. I don't want to deal with the tax ramifications of leaving that. So, and we do want to redirect that. Let's say we're only going to put $10,000 towards it, and maybe we're going to pull $200 from that. So this is you talking with your client. yeah, I don't want to get rid of all my savings. I have to have that amount in there because I have a construction company. I need an extra, that chunk to, you work with your client on what's best for them. You're the fiduciary, right? You're working with. So we're going to say out of these two, we're going to take all 300 and we're going to take 200 of that. So it's 500 total. So I'm going to fine tune this down here. And for the lump sums, we're not going to take that 60. We're not going to pay the 20. We're just going to take 10 out of the savings. So we'll reduce that to 10.
And John, let me make another distinction on the 401k. We couldn't really take the full 300 because some of that's money he's putting in and it's qualified. So it might be 200
tax,
because he has to pay the tax on that.
That's a good point. So let's say, actually, monthly contribution is 3, but we're going to only put 2 and 2. Let's do 400. You're right, Dane. That's probably the better scenario. And I don't like that benefit. Well, who cares? Let's go to income sources. And we'll add one there. We'll say we've got paycheck. You can add multiple ones for all the spouses and everything. And if he's getting any other income from any other sources, so wages, but you can select all this, Social Security, right? Let's say he's bringing in $12,000 a month. Now, if there's no debts, if there's no investments, if there's no other place to put more money, you can add it here. You can just say, hey, can you put $100 towards this thing, right? And then he might say, sure. I don't know. So now we have $100 coming from our, and by the way, I can click up here and get the breakdown at any moment. So this tells me where all the money's coming from and the totals. Little guy up here, just to let you know where these totals are at any moment. We'll go to insurance policies. Let's create another insurance policy. Now you may be getting rid of some old policies, right? Maybe there's a term policy that they have that you'd like to go ahead and close out. He's putting $200 a month towards that. He's got a, I don't know, $50,000 death benefit. And there's no cash value because it's term. So maybe we're going to go ahead and liquidate that turkey. So we have the opportunity to take the 200. We also have the opportunity for lump sums if we have some cash value. So you could work with whatever they have and just add to that. I'm not going to, you guys get the point. I'm not going to add another one, but you could, and we could identify some more lump sum. So now we're kind of finished. We've identified $1,300 of monthly redirecting and $10,000 going into that thing. That's a pretty decent policy. So let's go ahead and go on the report tab. Now here's where it gets fun. I have a couple of settings here. First off, there's going to be a moment in time, and I'm gonna put this on at 3% just for the heck of it. But there's going to be a moment in time where you're going to start paying down these debts. By the way, let me select Snowball for now. You're going to start paying down these debts, and the whole strategy is you pay minimums towards all your debts. You put everything else into the whole life policy. You build up cash value. When the cash value hits a certain threshold, which would be about 90, 85% of well, if the cash value, I'm totally backwards here. Let's say your first debt is $10,000. Your cash value is going to be like 11,000 or so because the system knows that threshold that your carrier has there. And you will take out a policy loan to pay off that first debt, $10,000. Okay. Then you're going to take the minimum payment for that Discover, which was, I don't know, $300, and you put that towards the policy loan to pay that down. Once that's paid down, at some point, another loan is going to happen to pay off the Visa, et cetera. And you're rolling it up. As you're paying one down, you're putting the minimum towards the next one until these things are paid down. Now, at some point, you have no policy loan and you have roll-up money, and we can't put money into the policy or it will be a mech. So we put it into another vehicle, a savings account, or for those advanced folks, maybe an IUL or another product that you might make a commission off of. Okay. But in this case, we're just going to do a simple savings account at 3%. So I need to set some math, but because I'm going to show you a report that shows you how much money they're going to make as they do all this fun moving around of money. So you've already noticed we can change the payoff order from Snowball, which is the lowest principal balance first. We can change it to Avalanche, which is the highest interest rate first. That's probably the best mathematical way to do it. The other one's probably the best behavioral way to do it. Or we can make a custom. So I can say, you know what, that Visa right there, I co-signed to get that Visa a long time ago with my father-in-law, and I really want that one paid off first because I don't want him in my finances anymore, right? So there's custom scenarios here that you can deal with just changing the order on your own. Now the fun part is I already have an illustration done. And it's not even for 1,300. It's not going to look as good as it would if you actually had 1,300 and a $10,000 lump sum. Okay, it just has, I think, $1,000 going into it and no lump sum. But I'm just going to show you how this thing works. I've already put my illustration together. I've saved the PDF onto my computer. Okay, I haven't touched it. I haven't made a CSV out or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and upload that entire PDF file to our system. I don't think you can see this. I don't know how Zoom does this, but I'm looking on my computer right now through my folders, finding a whole life policy that I put together a while back.
Hey, John, you want to just use a different case that matches the illustration that was built? Or do you want to use the numbers?
I could go back and change my case around, but I mean, it'll be fine.
That's fine. I just meant choose a different case.
It won't pay off as fast. Like in this case with the 1,300 or so and 10,000, with these debts, you'll probably pay it off in about 8 years. This thing will probably be more like 10 or 11, just because it's not a real, right? Does that make sense?
So you can see 10. Push one button. So you can see you push one button. It grabbed all the data from that illustration from the carrier, be it Foresters or Mutual Trust or whoever, and it uploaded to the system. That's all you have to do.
Yep. So now our math is done. It took all these things. It took our debt order. It took the cash value from the policy and a bunch of other things into consideration. And it churned all those numbers and determined over here that we're going to save these guys $51,000 in interest. We're going to have their debt paid off in 10 years, 10 months instead of 26. This is their current path of all the payments that they've told us that they're making. If they stay on that path, it will take them 26 years and 6 months to pay all their debts off. So that's really exciting right there, but that's not the end of the story. You guys know we're building cash value and other assets along the way. So the story is fantastic. So I can generate this really beautiful report, which I will show you that in just a minute. I also have this calculated data, which gives you all the math that we did. And I'll show you that in a minute too. But I want to show you another cool feature first, and that's the comparison tab. So let me go there. And this is helpful sometimes. You don't have to use this, but this is helpful for those clients that really want to see what's happening. Okay, now there's a lot of numbers happening right here. So let me just explain it. We got some blue stuff and some green stuff. Blue is their current plan. Green is our proposed plan, our new debt action plan. I've got all their debts listed here in the order we want them to be paid off. And they have a total at the top. Okay, and then I have some sliders here. And I've got some other stuff that I want to keep track of. Things like what my current cash value is for that year or month, any policy loans I have out, any savings account balance, and my total assets. Okay, and then some other things. So I can go to my slider, and I'm going to drag my month slider just for fun, and just let you see everything move. Right. So everything we just cycle through each month of this plan, just to explain what's going on. Oh, here we go. All right. So here's a fun one. In month 11, we have cash value building up to 11.6. We have a debt here. Let me see. The Visa has a balance of 10.5. So in month 12, it's going to trigger our first policy loan. So at month 11, it looks like the blue guy is winning a little bit. He's 5% done, and we're only 3% done. And that makes sense because we were making overpayments in their current plan. So their debts are going to go a little bit faster. We're only doing minimum, so it's going to go a little slower until we make that huge payoff, right? So month 12, bang, there's our payoff. So here we go. Now we're at 5%, now we're at 6% over here, and we got this one completely paid off. I like to point this out sometimes. Some people don't. Me and Dane talk about this sometimes, but sometimes the client will say, you didn't pay off a debt. You just transferred that debt from my Visa account to an insurance product, right? We still have a policy loan here, right? Well, yes and no. Yes, we have a policy loan, but we have this cash value that we've built up also in the meantime. And if you take the cash value, if you were to call the insurance company and say, I want to shut this thing down, they would take the cash value, they would pay off any outstanding policy loans and give you a check for $2,300. So you are out, that Visa is paid off, and you do not have any more debt if you factor in that cash. Does that make sense? So you actually are ahead of the game. You're not going to have the debt paid off, but you got a $2,000 check sitting there. But no, we don't want to do that. We got a lot more love to get out of this policy, right? So let me go to year one. And I'll just keep going just to show you. Okay, so here's another one. So right here in year one, month 6, we're going to pay off this Discover. Same thing. We got $19,000 of cash value. Our policy loan has been paid down to 86 roughly. And then it triggers another policy loan to pay off this Discover, and our policy loan went up to 15. And again, if we were to cash this out, we get a check for $4,700, and both of these debts would be paid off. Okay. Now you guys get the deal there. You can explain to the client how this is working. They see the numbers. They say, okay, this makes sense. We've already saved you some interest. But if you look up here, I have two different badges. I'm going to drag my year slider to that first badge. That is the 10-year mark. And as soon as I drag it on there, the month badge slows up right there, right? So I'm going to drag my month badge to there. And that is the debt action plan debt-free date. We knew it was 10 years, 10 months from the other page. Okay. And if you notice, everything's paid off, everything's green, 100%, looks beautiful. Over here, we've got some policy loans. Yes. We've got some cash value as well. If you cancel this all out, you would get a check for 30 grand. So you're not only out of debt in 10 years and 10 months, but you could get a check for 30 grand if you want to. But we don't want to do that because there's a whole lot more we can do with that policy. But I like these badges being here. Okay. I have one here at the 10, I have one here at 20. This is the one, this is our current path, 26 years. So this is a lot of time. So let's go ahead and drag it to 26 to show you that the current plan is paid off in 26 years and 6 months. That's the current path you're on. We can do a few fun things here. Instead of being just out of debt, which is the current path that they're on, we are out of debt and we have saved some interest here. Okay. But we also have $905,000 of assets that we've built up. And that's the awesome thing. You've saved interest, yes, but you have built this beautiful nest egg. But there's also some more to the equation. Let's say in year, I don't know, 17, we want to buy an RV. Well, we have $317,000 of assets where we can do that. A mixture of cash value or savings. You don't have to go to the bank and say, do I qualify? Pull my credit. Please, please, please give me my RV. You say, I'd like $112,000 for my RV and I'd like it tomorrow. And they say, sure, no problem, right? So you transform the way you bank. So we were transferring from the conversation about debt elimination. Now it's the banking side of things. So now you have your own bank with a large amount of assets that are growing, and you can borrow against that. Again, we have cash value, policy loans. If you ever needed to liquidate it, it's everything's paid off. There's no more debt, right? But you can, maybe in year 20, you've already paid off the RV. And now we have $425,000 of assets. Maybe you want to do a renovation to your home. Maybe in year 22, we want to send some kids to college, et cetera, right? And so we have all these assets to use, and we can pull you out of the traditional banking system, and you use this whole life policy. And of course, as retirement comes closer, you can have that discussion. Again, some folks will not use the savings account. They'll go ahead and put them into an IUL as well to try to build for that retirement, because that's a wonderful product for that strategy. And you can have that conversation as well. So it's an easy conversation with the client, and they can easily see that the difference between these two dates and all the assets that we're able to provide them. So you're a hero. You're coming in saying, I'm going to get you out of debt. I'm going to get you $905,000 of assets, and you're going to love me. And by the way, all the money that you're spending on your debts, I'm not going to ask for any more money from anywhere. You're not paying me. You're not having me sell you some expensive piece of software. This is just a no-brainer for the client. Dane, you wanted to pipe in there. So you.
Yeah. A couple things. What I think is really relevant in this discussion that John's having as far as that slider and stuff, you'll see here in a minute, the report gives them those actual dates when those markers are. So that allows me as the agent to have a conversation with the client fairly often. And that way I'm engaged with them. There's maybe more opportunities to make sales with them, get referrals. But on that report that you're going to see here in a second, it gives me specific dates.
And you're stealing my thunder, man. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the report.
What I'm getting to is when you're using that comparison tool, remember, they're going to have things that you're going to do with them in the future, and you're showing them on that slider. and it allows you to have multiple conversations. I just love that feature.
Yeah, and you don't have to use the slider. A lot of folks go straight to this generated report. So let's go ahead and look at the report real quick. Okay, I'm going to generate it, and it's saving right now to my computer. I don't know if you can see this on your screen, but I'm going to click it here, and here's the PDF that was generated. Now, first of all, I chose a really green color, and remember that Disney logo that I put on there and all that stuff. So that's all there. And by the way, as you scroll through this thing, I'll go slower. There's greens and stuff through this report. All this matches your color scheme, right? So you can really brand this thing to what you want. So let me show you the actual report. We start off with a disclaimer. Yes, we have to do that, obviously. We go right to for the throat on this one. Very first page, right? We talk about, you're going to say $51,000. You're going to be paid off in 10 years and 10 months. Your current path is going to pay you off at this rate. Here we go, right? We're not doing any magic. It's just math combined with a few incredible strategies that can significantly change your lifestyle over time. So we are just going right for it. We're not painting pretty pictures and saying all kinds of things. We're saying exactly what we're doing for you. And then we hit the details. Then we talk about what the strategy is. The first thing we do is identify inefficient payment strategies, which is what we did with our software, going through all their debts. We want to run all your overpayments through the whole life policy and then pay off your debts. By doing that, we get all kinds of cash value, asset building love, right? That's the secret. We start making minimum payments to all of our debts so that we can build up cash value in this major component here, this uniquely designed life insurance policy. We're going to build up cash value. As we build up cash value, we're going to take out policy loans to pay off our debts so that we keep building that cash value up. They're starting to understand it. Then we go down and we show where we found all the money. I'm trying to make this easier for us to see here. Remember all the things that we identified. This is where we identified all the money going into the policy and the $10,000 of lump sum that went into the policy, okay? And then we scroll down and we talk about their current plan. We got these depressed people in the background, and we show their debts here, all their balances and their minimums and their current monthly payment they're making. And each one is how long it's going to take to pay them off. 26 years, 6 months. Here's the amount. The red is all the interest they're going to be paying. Okay. And then we show them the new plan, like these happy people in the background, right? And we have an old payoff date, which was there on this visa. Our new payoff date is here. It's 2 years earlier on that visa. Look at that. This one's about the same. Well, a little bit earlier, about 5 months earlier, right? You see the exact changes of the payoff dates with all these. You see the interest saved on every debt. So this one didn't save any interest on the Discover. This one just a little bit, and this one's a whole lot, right? Again, it depends on their debt structure. If they have all kinds of other debts, you might be saving them $150,000 of interest, right? It all just depends. This is actually a really good scenario. I mean, it's a very conservative one. You can usually pay things off a little faster and have a larger policy put together. But the one that I had, I'm trying to be conservative. And so we scroll down, and then we talk about that's not all, guys. We're not just paying off your debt and saving you a little bit of interest, right? We're going to build you some wealth. And so not only are you paid off in this amount of time, but we're going to, in 20 years, you should have 477,000 in assets. 30 years, you'll have 1.1 million. 40 years, you have 2.1 million. All by just using that same money that you're using now. We're just sending it through the whole life policy, letting it get a little cash value love, build out assets, and spit it back out, right? It's like this money machine. And then we talk about how we're building an asset, not a liability. We have all these other wonderful things like death benefit, terminal illness, chronic illness, etc. Potential for lower taxes in retirement. You can have that conversation with them if you guys are all good at that. Money has multiple jobs. You're not just paying off debt. It's building cash and paying off debt. And you got some future support from these wonderful agents that you guys represent. And then we go down here. This is what Dane was talking about. We lay out the important dates of your plan. And by the way, this is with all that math. If you go back to the scenario and change some debts, which happens, and add some things and take away some things, generate the report again, it will all be updated. But their scenario right now has these 4 loans to pay off all 4 of their debts. It tells you exactly the amount of the loan and then how much was rolled up that you start putting towards that policy loan once that visa is paid off, and the exact date. So here's where all that happens. Now, a really good agent would jot all 5 of these dates down and plug it into their calendar, maybe a week or 2 before these dates as a reminder. These are 5 different opportunities to touch this client one more time. Of course, you have a renewal every year, all that fun stuff, but these are extra opportunities. Hey, I've got you scheduled here to pay that Visa off. How are we doing? We looking good? Oh yeah, we're doing okay. I added a little bit of debt to it. Actually had to add another debt because I got in a car wreck the other month, and et cetera, et cetera. And I did get a raise of $3,000 a year, but, whatever. There might be opportunities to adjust things, or you're just going to touch them and say, "Fantastic, we're doing great. We're going to pay that off. Do you need any help? Do we need to help you with the paperwork?" It allows you to stay with that client more. Of course, we have this wonderful date of the 4/1/26, which is when we make our first savings account deposit. That means we paid all these debts off. We paid off any policy loans associated with them, and we're waiting for that big house note, right? So we start throwing money into a savings account deposit, and it says, since we're using whole life policy, there's no, what I just said is listed right here, and it says that important date is right there. So your client knows that we need to have a conversation before that date on where to put that money. Is a savings account the best place to put it? All of us insurance agents say, no, it's not. But you can go in there and determine whatever you'd like to do to maybe give them another product that you can get a commission on, okay? And get them a little bit better situation. We just put a 3% return on a savings account and did this. We built up millions of dollars here, right? You can do a whole lot more with some other products. But again, this is where you plug them into your calendar, have your agents touch these guys. You're becoming their resource, their expert, and you'll probably sell them more things in the future. And then at the end, we just kind of go over it again. We only make minimum payments right now. We're going to apply for the insurance. After approval, we're going to schedule your first loan payoff. We're going to start redirecting the inefficient dollars to your new plan by paying your policy, your premium every month. Then we're going to start making your money work more efficiently and turn your debt into wealth. And then a whole bunch of happy people here. And that's it. That's the report. So you leave that with them. We tried to be efficient with the report. We didn't want to repeat ourselves. We just go from here to here to here to here, and then we're done. And again, this is very customizable, right? You've got your colors and your logo there. We want to brand you and not us, right? So let me go back to the this page we were on before, where we generated the report, where we see all these things here. I can also, now this is going to lose you real quick, so just bear with me. It's math. If I click the show calculated data button, man, it shows you everything that we're doing. So this is the entire scenario here, and I can scroll across and see all kinds of fun stuff. But if you have an engineer or someone who likes to look at a bunch of numbers in a table, this is the screen for them. This is not what I like to look at. But it does show us that in that last year, last month of the first year, we took out a $10,000 policy loan. Well, maybe it wasn't 10,000, 10,008. Anyway, and then when we go to the net, and by the way, on these arrows at the bottom, I can click it to the next year. Now we're at year 1, month 1, right? And now we see another loan happening, another debt being paid off. It just shows you exactly what's happening. Now watch this. This is even funner. If I scroll down, it gives me every stinking debt. So the Visa, I'm paying the Visa off at exactly month 12, right? And it shows me that my payment's $330. I got a 21% rate. So this is going to interest. This is going to principal. And it just shows you the amortization of this thing until it's paid off. Go to the Discover, same thing. By the way, Discover's 1 year, 7 months. I can click on the current plan, click, and it shows me the current plan numbers. Remember we had an introductory rate? We had some zero interest paid. We had full principal the first few months. There's that introductory rate. You can see it in the math. Auto, and of course the house, which is the big one, that one is 26.6 and 10 years 10. So you can just scroll through every year of the house amortization and see where every penny's going. So we can prove all these numbers are real. We're not doing anything funky here. If someone actually wants to see these numbers, we went ahead and opened up the math that we're using to you guys so that you can follow it, use it if you need it. I don't like to use that just because it's just a bunch of math. Some clients might love it, but I like to deal with conceptual things and talk about concepts and stuff. But anyway, it's there if you want it. And by the way, I can go back. Let me I go to my dentist case right here. Remember this? The thing's yellow. And I can view that scenario again. I can create a new one. I can do a few of them if I'd like. I can update this. I can change it. I can put on a new report. And that happens sometimes, right? As you're waiting for them to close their deal, a little more debt comes along sometimes, right? So we can go in and adjust that. I can go in there and add more debts, change balances, all kinds of fun things. And by the way, I didn't show you this. On the report tab, I can actually set a new date for my report, which is important because sometimes it might take a month for that case to actually go in force. And so all those dates that say you're gonna pay it off next September, well, it might be next October now, right? So if we can set the date for a month in advance, it makes that report a lot more accurate. So that's really the presentation, guys, of the actual software. I know there's more that we could talk about conceptually and how to sell it and how to bring up certain things. And Dane's the expert at that kind of stuff. I just wanted to show you how the software works and how this tool is available to have your agents get in there and feel comfortable and generate a report. I think it's fairly easy. You can just go hit your debts, right? Get to the report, change the order to whichever one's the best, generate the report, and you're off. You don't have to go to that comparison tab. You don't have to go to this show calculated data tab. You don't have to go that deep if you don't want to. You can just generate that report, have a conversation with the report right in front of the client, and sign them up, right? No money on their end. So anyway, it's Dane, how have you enjoyed the system and this concept of, because you've done a lot of retirement oriented things with an IUL. How do you like this system?
Yeah, and I'll speak to that in this regard. So Dennis, again, you watched the webinar, and the webinar kind of coached you as a consumer why you would select this method versus the Dave Ramsey, I'll take care of my debt with limiting my lifestyle and eat beans and weenies. And that's where everybody is when they think of eliminating debt. And again, why do we focus on debt to begin with? This goes into the psychology. Why I like this, John, is it's a huge net. I mean, millions and millions of people are in debt and they want to get out of it. They don't really think life insurance is a good retirement plan. So I don't start that conversation with, hey, if there's a way to grow money risk-free and tax-free, would you want to talk about it? I'm focusing on, if there's a way to get out of debt, would you want to hear about it? They say yes. Now I'm in a conversation about life insurance policy, but it's about debt elimination. So it makes the conversation really easy to start with because it's a bigger pool.
And Dane, have you found people that are in debt as much as we just showed you? Are they even wanting to talk about retirement at this point? But can they even? No, they can't even really breathe. And you know, I don't want to deal with that. I'm going paycheck to paycheck here, right?
Right. They may have a 401k because they think that's the right way to go, because they've been taught by Wall Street to do that, and their employer, because the IRS gives them the tax advantage. But conceptually, they are trying to get out of debt before they buy other stuff. So, and we know that they're probably never going to get out of debt because that's just how people are. So as salespeople, we want to help, or I want to help them understand that what they believe to be true might not be true. And they think that they can't simultaneously grow wealth and eliminate debt. They've got to do one or the other. So I'm showing them that they can do both with this system. So we're going to attack your debt and get it paid off, but we're going to use this properly structured insurance contract to do it. And when we're good at, and the system will teach you how to do that, and guys, you know how to do this, when you're taking loans against the policy, your cash value doesn't decrease. Okay, so the earning power, that 5% with Lafayette or Mutual Trust or Foresters or whoever carrier you're going to promote, and we've got about 3 of them right now. There might be a half a dozen more that we can upload to the system, but those 3 carriers we support right now. So you run your illustration, you upload it to this platform like John did with one click of a button. And now the consumer is looking at us saying, you're going to help me eliminate my debt. I'm going to change how I bank. I'm no longer going to get loans from a bank anymore. I'm going to borrow from myself. I'm going to have a consistent 5% rate of return or whatever Lafayette has given you, for instance. And I'm going to get paid to borrow money because the loan rate's less than what they're giving me. So it is an incredible system to simplify the conversation. If there are a way, Joe, to get out of debt, would you want to hear about it? And it's different than Dave Ramsey. You've got to eat beans and weenies. Jeffrey, I see you're sitting there watching this intently the entire time. I believe with everything in me, there are millions of families out there that could benefit from this. They just have never heard this kind of an approach. They may have heard infinite banking where you can become your own bank, and they go, yeah, that's going to be great one day down the road when I'm out of debt. They've also heard about debt elimination through I've got to cancel my lifestyle in order to get out of debt. This takes care of both of those. And you can have these numbers that John stated here because they're guaranteed. Now that savings rate that John has there at 3%, that's just an assumed rate. Maybe that's a money market account that you set up with them. It defaults to 2%, but we could slide that all the way to 5% and say that money, that extra money is going into an IUL at the proper time. It doesn't affect the guarantees here because we know an IUL doesn't have a guarantee. It has a guarantee of zero floor, but we can't guarantee they're going to make 5% interest all the time. So there's a lot of ways that we can use this system in our practice to find the clients, have a conversation with them about something that's really relevant, help them understand there's a way to build wealth and get out of debt simultaneously. And the system does all the storytelling for us. Rarely do I have to show the actual illustration. Now, by law, I have to. And so there's some interactive reports. There's some things that we didn't go over with you today in the limited time. But as someone who's interfacing with the consumer, I want to make the story as easy for them to understand as possible. I like the comparison tab, John. I think that's the best part for me. Now, the report summarizes all of it. And you guys might want to go to the report first and summarize it, and then talk to the engineer about the comparison stuff. I go to the comparison all the time because I want them to see the real numbers and when those loans are getting paid off. And then I summarize with the report and they say, gosh, yeah, this looks great. And then it's, okay, let's see if you qualify. I don't know if you qualify or not. Now I'm taking it away. What do you mean I can't qualify? I qualify if I want to. You know how it works. So you go through the process with them. They understand this is a structure where they can grow wealth and pay off debt simultaneously. They qualify for the insurance. You get paid. And I know that you're marketers, so you're probably going to use this tool for other people in the space, I assume. Is that right, Dennis?
Yeah, it's
yes.
both and. So, and that's the unique part about this conversation that I was just going to take for 30 seconds is, let me take a step back and ask everyone this, because I know you guys have seen a lot of information, but from the standpoint of what I kind of messaged and talked to everyone beforehand about seeing this, does everyone here see the value of being able to offer a system like this that is, and I'm gonna sell it a little bit, that is independent from the Nelson Nash Academy, from your family bank, and those concepts, that you don't need to get a contract with those places to be able to operate this software? Does everyone here see the value in being able to say, I have this in my tool belt, let me show you what this looks like? And now you can officially talk to the whole life practitioners, the guys that are actually using a concept like this, but are pigeonholed into an IMO or a place that
that's right,
they may want to grow out of, but they can't because they love the software that they're using at those places. So does everyone see the value? Let's start there of that. And does anyone not see the value?
Well, maybe give us an opportunity to ask some questions, would be my response. I mean, you guys have been going nonstop here, and I have a bunch of questions.
True.
And,
haven't been able to breathe yet, Dennis, right? Yeah. Fire away, man. Fire away.
I heard Mutual Trust, Lafayette, and Foresters are three companies that are embedded, or we have their illustrations functionality. How hard is it to, so if I said, well, I'd like to see Emeritus and One America
Mutual,
Whole Life.
Right.
How hard is it to implement them to use this software?
So I'm gonna come at you real nerdy. Okay, so we built a parsing engine that pulls up a PDF, can look for certain things and markers, grab tables, manipulate the table to the certain data structure we want, et cetera. There's a lot of nerdy stuff that's happening. So that's our big, huge parsing engine. And then we build these parsing profiles for all of our carriers that say, hey, look for this marker, and that's where you want to get the interest rate from. Look for this marker, and that's the beginning of the table you want for the blah, 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 blah. So the parsing profiles is what we would build for that new carrier. Depending on the complexity of it, it'll take a couple of days. So it's not a huge issue. So if you have a carrier that you would like to go with, it's a risk analysis for us. It's a cost, right? We have a development cost with that, and if it's for one user, it may not be great to do that one first. Put that one down the line and do a few more first, et cetera. That's just from us. But yes, in theory, we can have a carrier supported pretty quickly. We would want to get a handful of illustrations from that carrier with different parameters on it, and that's all we would need. We would have our developer just churn on that thing, and I'd tell you, Dennis, we're ready to go, and you go up there and upload it, and it works. So that's how that would work. So yes,
So
we
Dennis,
can support in many carriers.
Yeah,
Sorry,
on the IUL side, we've got a dozen or so. So we'll get to that on the whole life side as well.
Okay.
Okay.
What kind of support is available for a new user in understanding, one, how to use the software, and two, the nerdy people who say, okay, I got a guy who is telling me it's better to make a $5,000 payment towards his mortgage versus pay the minimum and pay it all off at once, and I want to show them that in the numbers, and I know I can, but I don't know how. What kind of support do I have?
So there's a few things that we can do, and there's a few things that we're going to reserve for the IMOs, because we are building software, and we want to kind of let you add value to your agency and your group. So we, like others, like they mentioned, that are out there, they require you to sign up with them through their IMO, put the business through them. We don't want to get into that business. We'd like to just let you do it. And so with that also comes some responsibility on your end. You need to provide a lot of that stuff. We can certainly help. On the training side, on the actual how the software works, if you go to training here, you can schedule a session by clicking here, confirm, and put your email in, and you just scheduled a 45-minute free session with us about anything under the sun. And you can do that as much as you want. You just have to pick a date that's available, and there's a lot of availabilities right now. So the one-on-one training is always available for anything. If it's something real specific, we'll dive into that. If it's something real general, we'll give you a whole overview of this. And we do these trainings all day long, constantly. So that's available to them. As far as other stuff like case design and blah blah, that would be handled by you and your agency. But honestly, there's an opportunity to add value to your group by you providing some marketing tools. You provide training on this. You provide some psychology behind it and sales tools and whatnot. So there's some value there that you can add that we would like to help you if you need it, but we'd like to stay out of it so that we're not the value added, that you are, so that you can recruit more to your group. Agency Rocket wants to be tools for your industry. We do not want to be an IMO. We do not want to make anything off all that end of it. We just want to make money off the tools. And I think in doing that, it makes it a little more honest conversation, and it's a little bit more freedom for you folks to do whatever you need to do to grow your groups.
Sure.
Again, we're new to the game in the debt action plan side of the equation. We will have training modules in addition to one-on-one specific training. There'll be modules in the Agency Rocket back office when they click on there and they want to see, okay, what does that slider actually do? We're going to video, kind of like what we did today, different segments of this. So if they want to know how does the slider work, there's going to be a little 3-minute video on the slider. There'll be something about uploading the illustration to the system. So we're going to have those support videos so they don't actually have to have one-on-one training every time. And if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and they don't want to have a one-on-one, they can just watch a few videos and get their support. Does that make sense, Dennis?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, Dennis, let me piggyback one more time, and then I'll be quiet so you can ask more questions. This is new. We're still in beta. We've been beta for a couple of months now. We've got the bugs worked out. It's working. We got agents selling on it right now. Nathan already had a relationship with us, so that's why we're talking to Nathan. You guys are some of the first to lay your eyes on this thing, right? So it is a new product. We do have a development list, punch list that's pretty long of additional updates we'd like to add to this thing. And so you'll be able to see these things roll out and add even more value to our system. So we're kind of still an infant right now, Dennis, to be honest with you. So you get to grow with us if you'd like.
No, that's cool.
It's a good thing because nobody's heard it. You get a chance to go present this to the world.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's very appealing to not have to. So, you know, I know Nelson Nash. I'm not a member of the institute, but you can get his is more the concept,
the banking side.
Yeah. And it is clearly, infinite banking is clearly about getting out of debt. But it's, again, when you want to get into the whole, okay, show me the nuts and bolts, the day-to-day, once I create the perfectly constructed policy, then you got to go to these guys like Bank on Yourself or Your Family Bank, which then requires you to sign up with them and to do the business through them. What's very appealing, to answer Nathan's questions, is this can be independent of that. I don't have to be connected to any particular agency or company to do it, is what I'm understanding. So that's very appealing.
What are you talking about, Dennis? They have to go through Praxis. No, it's like, go ahead, Dennis. And then I know if there's anybody else that has questions, well, let me do this because Dane, John, I know I gave you 10:30. If you guys need to jump off, that's no.
I'm good for now, Nathan. I can stick around.
I've got another 15 minutes.
Yes, feel free to.
Then we'll get Dane and John off at 10:45, and then just 15 minutes afterwards for everyone that's here, we'll spend another 5-10 minutes just talking about, marketing wise and what we can do on our end. Because I know we have, with everyone that's on here, and we had a couple people that had to jump off, we have a lot of distribution power. So I know, just to mention in front of you and you both, I know one of the things that we'd like to do is set up a webinar at some point that's agent focused. But I know, like I said, I know you guys are in beta and development, so I don't know if you guys, what that looks like, but we can talk about that afterwards and go from there. But while we have Dane and John, anybody, Dennis, do you have any more questions, or anybody else that's on here have questions as well?
So are we looking at as this being strictly value added for our clients? For anybody we get involved with Praxis, this would be a tool that they can learn and use in their practice?
Absolutely. So the basic idea is that this on our end is a marketing tool that allows us to have a conversation outside of contracts and carriers. Because agents are looking everywhere. You can get contracts and carriers everywhere, but it's about the value added tools, the extra resources, the extra support. And I mean, there's not a lot of places that talk about software like this unless it becomes internal to their own, which is really where we're at. We're big on transparency and saying, well, hey, we found tools that are absolutely amazing. Some of them you'll need in your practice, some of them you won't. But if you can learn, and that's what we'll talk about at the end, is really 1 to 3 simple value propositions. Is we'll talk about that of what is the few sentences that we can talk to an agent and why Agency Rocket, and specifically the debt to action plan software, is something that they should have in their practice.
So I see this software as more of a point of sale piece, supporting tool of why it all makes sense, and from a big picture standpoint of this is the debt you would want to pay off first, but it's it's not so much of a, every month you're going to go then into this and readjust. Now you probably could run a new plan. You know, like I know there's these other debt elimination software, like, and every time you get a paycheck, you go in and you pay it down and you fill in these things, and it's showing you this is going to be gone in this amount of period of time. What's the name of that software, Nathan?
The Money Max account.
Yeah, the Money Max account. Yeah. This is not that. This is more of a high level. This is create the whole life policy and pay towards that and pay your minimums here and then pay this. And it's kind of showing you the 10-year plan versus the month to month, week to week tracking.
Yeah, right. And then the second distinction is for the consumer. If they were to buy the Money Max account, it's $3,500 or whatever the cost is. They've got to interact with that software all the time to make sure they're doing it right. And they fall off the wagon. They don't do it as well as they should because people are people of habit. So we've taken that angst out of the system. They don't have to interact with us with the software. The Nelson Nash side of the equation, they focus on the banking. So obviously people that are in debt don't think they can do banking yet, so they put it off. Your family bank model, yeah, I'd love to use their system, but I think it's antiquated. It's not as cool as what John has developed here. And it doesn't cost me $4,000 to buy your family bank model and then a couple $100 a month to market it. So we're not causing the consumer to have to buy software. We're not causing the agent to have to buy software. We're not causing the agent to have to help them understand, no, you can do banking simultaneously if we lead with the banking model. We're leading with debt first, giving them a simple approach with that simple report. Once they get that concept, they're like, I could do this. Yeah, you can do that. Let's get it started with this whole life policy, and I'll be here for you in the years to come to show you how simple this is going to be done. We'll talk once a year or whenever those dates come up. But hey, go live your life. We're going to get you out of debt. We're going to build wealth simultaneously. It's over. Simple.
Yeah. So I love the fact that consumer doesn't have to buy software or subscription, but doesn't agent have to buy this to run these reports?
They do. It's $10,000 a month.
Okay, we're in.
We'll have to take that out of the
But
map.
guys, don't worry, because you work with Praxis, it's only going to be $9,999 a month. Okay?
Our retail price is $149.95 a month. That's for the debt action plan. The money retirement one, which we didn't even talk about today, we can do that another day, is $60 a month. And of course, you can you have to select your base system, because we tailor the system around that. But you can also add the add-on. Like if you have the money retirement system, which some of you I think do, you can add debt action plan for $129 a month, right? If you have this guy and you want the money retirement, you can add him for $39. It's the same math both directions, but you can add these different add-ons. So we didn't go over all these different add-ons as well, which are really cool. We can do that another day, but it's about $150 a month. It's month to month. You can quit. You can come back in 6 months. Your data is still there if you want it to be. You can tell us to delete your data if you'd like. If you need to take a vacation, you can take a vacation, right? If we don't like, our philosophy is always at Agency Rocket, we don't want to lock you into anything. If you don't want to be here, we would like for you to go. If we're not adding value, then I don't want us to have a negative relationship. So
and there's some pricing conversations we're having with Nathan as well. So
correct.
That's why you're on here.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
can I give you guys oh, go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, as honoring time, you guys finish up, because then, like I said, we'll kick you off.
Chat about it. Okay.
And then there's some things that we'll talk about afterwards, I know.
Okay. Let me give you some options and kind of a little bit of what's coming. And I'm doing this with a caution, because the caution that I have is I don't want you to wait and say, I'm going to wait for 6 months for that to launch. Right. So from our company perspective, we're launching it now. We have lots of subscribers already. We'd like to generate that revenue to pay for those fun, new, cool features. If everyone waits for the new features, they won't come. Right. I mean, I guess they could, but That's our goal, and that's our plan right now. So I do that with a little bit of a caution. But one of the things that we're going to be adding is, Dennis, yes, it is a way for consumers to log in to just their own system and update, change, add debt, take away debt. They don't have to go in there every month and say, I made this payment to that. They can, or they can just say, you know what, here's my new balances. Here's where I am right now. I haven't been here for 8 months, so let me just go update everything. It will still generate using that same whole life policy there. It'll still tell them what to do, et cetera. So it can be an interactive thing. The cool thing about that system is that we're going to have a big, huge picture of Dennis when they log in, and his number and his email, and you can communicate back and forth through the system if you'd like, which is kind of a fun plus. Some of the other things we're going to be adding are on the banking side. You can add, like when I went to the comparison tab, I said, hey, what if in year 18 we bought an RV? Well, I'm going to make it where you can actually plug in, let's buy an RV for $100,000, and it's going to do the math and show you when that gets paid off and how that all works and how much assets you have left over. So you can add all these things in the future scenarios, right? To do the banking side of the thing a little bit stronger, which nobody else has that. We're going to have a lot more settings on the report. Do we use the guaranteed cash value, or do we use the cash value plus the dividends that aren't really guaranteed yet? Which way do you want to go with that from an agent perspective? Do you want to always have a lump sum of a certain amount, maybe $5,000 of cash value always there, that we don't dig into your cash value so much that you have no emergency fund? We can use the cash value as an emergency fund. So the math will never take more money. It'll always leave you $5,000 of cash value at any given moment, is what I'm trying to say. So you can always take a $5,000 loan at any moment if you have an emergency need. So just some fun things that we're adding. There's 8 or 9 others that we're going to be adding to the system. An interactive report is one we're going to add. That report is cool. The PDF report is cool. But if you've seen our other IUL system, we provide an interactive report to our clients where it gets delivered to them. They go and it has their scenario there, it has their illustration attached, and you have all these fun sliders and videos and all this marketing love that's there that's interactive instead of just a boring PDF that's just stationary. We're going to be adding that. Dane, what am I leaving out?
Well, the reach part is
the reach part. Oh, yeah.
Significant, because that's, that's where we're going to put eyeballs. You might have a marketing campaign where you can go after clients, or the agents that you're supporting. They may want to do Facebook ads and things like that. And they can use this social media card, this landing page, to get eyeballs on that webinar, drive it to the CRM system. And now they're having a consumer meeting about debt using this IUL. So the Reach platform, I think, solves a lot of the marketers' issues. I don't have one-on-one coffee meetings any longer. I get them to watch a webinar. The webinar does the filtering. If they like the concept, we move forward. If they don't, next. So I'm only talking with consumers that like the idea. And there's only about 100 million people out there that we can go help. So it's terrific.
Let me show you one more thing. I'm going to refresh my page. And this is branding a private white label branding that we have for a company here, Wealth United. It's got green and browns as their color scheme. So we can actually private label the entire software system. So it doesn't even say Agency Rocket up here anymore. It says your branding. That's a possibility. There's different pricing we can do for that. There's all kinds of fun stuff that we can do. We can, as soon as we get you on a team in our database, we can do some fun stuff. We can add coupons, pricing, colors, all that. Yeah, sorry, Dane, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say the report is always going to say the debt action plan, but it's going to have your colors and your logo and that kind of stuff on it, because it's the plan that we're promoting through your companies.
Yeah, but if like Dennis has a group of 100 agents, we can go ahead and brand the whole system, not just the debt action plan. When you log in, it'll say that, and on the login screen, you will see that logo there as well. You'll say, "Hey guys, sign up here," and it has your big logo sitting there. So that looked kind of cool. Let me show you the login. Log out of here. So I would go to, I'd go to there, and this is his login page. Here's his new account page. Okay, so he's got the color scheme, the logo up there, and they can select the Mining Retirement System or the debt action plan, right? And then they create their account. because we know that that's the team URL right there, we assign them to the team and can do a lot of fun stuff. We can already have their system already white labeled the way you want it, have pricing, customized pricing for things if we need to. So there's some fun things that we can do there, and we have the ability to separate teams in that way, which is kind of fun. Just again, adding value to you. You can say this is the system I'm bringing my agents, and it adds value to your company.
Absolutely. Well, I know we're 5 minutes over, and then I want to spend a couple minutes with these guys before we have to end up at 11. But John, Dane, as always, I appreciate your time. John, you're a whiz at all this stuff. Really glad to have you on board, and we'll have a conversation afterwards, and then we'll go from there. But from my end, I'm excited about this software. You guys put together some great pieces. It's basically an instant sales funnel for a lot of people. So yeah. We'll be talking afterwards, and we'll like I said, we'll plan a webinar. We'll get this out to people. Very good. We're here to help all of you. We can do any webinars you need, but we'll go ahead and drop off so you guys can have time to talk amongst yourselves. But thank you for spending a little bit of time with us. We really
this was awesome. We can get your contact information, I imagine, through Nathan.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Good to meet you, everyone.
Thank you, Dane. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
No problem, Nathan. We'll see you guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, talk soon. All right, so I want to honor time and get out of here by 11 o'clock. But with that, oh, there we go. I was like, I'm like, what are you doing over there, Dennis?
I'm waving to people who turn their video on. That's the respectful thing to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, hey, so I'm going to give a few things from my end because, like I said, I'm familiar with IUL Rockets, the IUL side of what they're doing, and the 3 programs that they have. But as you saw, Agency Rocket, if you guys have seen, all of you guys have seen the presentation, they're one of our tech partners. And that's why they're one of our tech partners, because they create beautiful platforms like this. But very simply, I think there's a few value propositions on this side. I'm going to give just a couple from my end that you guys can kind of jot down. And then, like I said, if we want to, we can talk for a couple minutes. But what I really want to do is condense the information, because a lot of the things that they went over is great. It's phenomenal. But for our purpose, on the marketer side, we can almost delete it from our brain a little bit, because that's what they're there for, is to we're not going to have to explain the marketing system on that level that John went through. That's not going to be our job. Our job is going to be, well, what is the answering this one question? What is the reason that an agent should have this software, this platform in their practice? So if you guys can answer that, think within that. So for me, there's just I'll add a couple things, but I want you guys to think about that question as well on your end. So really quick, number one is that the value proposition is that it's an independent software. So the independent software, meaning that you don't have to be at your family bank. You don't have to be, you guys are all laughing because you can hear the little one in the background. Hold on 1 second.
Dennis, who are you making faces at?
You, Bob.
I thought so.
All right,
so Dennis,
this
is different than Kevin Benavides is saying.
What's that? What about that?
How is it different than Benavides's thing?
So
that's where the client buys.
Yeah, the Wealth Max or Debt Max, or I own this stupid thing. I paid $3,500 for it, and I can never remember what it's called. Anyway, yeah, the consumer buys that, and the consumer has to go in. It is just a debt elimination tool, and it's great. And they talk about how people use it in conjunction with IBC. They have their whole life policy, and then they use it. But I just love this because they were exactly right from the standpoint of you have to go and manage that system. You're always moving, and it's like And Kevin says 10 minutes a day and or 10 minutes a week. And I don't.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Sorry about that.
So this is all driven by the agent, basically.
yes.
And
This
so
is-
they and it's beneficial for them because they can help their client, which frees up more dollars to do more things.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I think of the wealth building cornerstone software. The agent has that, and he shows that to the consumer to support his sale.
Right.
This is the supporting piece to setting up IBC policy and paying off your debt.
Got it.
So, yeah, absolutely. There's some phenomenal things with that, and that's what you just described, Dennis and Bob, is right on. Like, Bob, you're getting the value proposition right there.
Yeah, and when I think of it as BDAs or AMOs, if we find people or know people or do searches of people who are into the infinite banking concept or they're into Nelson Nash, and then to be able to say, well, what do you use to sell that to your clients? And they say, well, I just explain the concept or I give them the book or whatever. Don't you have a presentation, a software presentation tool? Let me show you this. This is really cool. And now they have this, and now they're interested in doing business with you and getting their contracts through you. You've just brought value to the equation.
Yeah, exactly. So to capsulize that, say is if you're talking to an agent and you find out they do whole life, they're a practitioner, no Nelson Nash guy, or they want to get into it, whatever it is. But the simple idea is if I can show you a way to create an instant sales funnel that has built-in presentations, built-in trackers, and a built-in tool to show your clients how to get out of debt using whole life, is that something that you'd like to have a conversation about? So that's the capsule. That's the if you're calling out to an agent, you can literally say hi, do your niceties, and say, hey, the reason I'm calling is and then go through that value proposition. And I would say that most people are very interested in that because they're either using Excel spreadsheets, they're paying gobs of money for your family bank, and then have to fly out for a training out in Florida, all that stuff. So that's a very, very simple value proposition that you can talk to them about, and talk to whole life agents. The other idea, just again to reiterate, and on our side, is again this, and what they've already stated is that this is an independent software. Technically, no one needs to get a contract. There's no requirements. All it is that they pay money to buy this software, or this platform rather. I would call it a platform.
Right. 'Cause it's just connected right through the website, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So, and like I said, we're going to do some special things with them that they're going to give us a discount that we can talk about, so that if they go to the agency Rocket by themselves and they see the price, you can go back to them and say, hey, work it through us. We can give you a discount.
Right.
So that's kind of the value proposition of how we get agents to keep it over to us, because they can't just go to Agency Rocket and buy it on their own. We have a way to be able to say, we can offer you a discount, at least go through us, and then you at least capture that data. And the idea is that you want to earn their contract on the back end, of course. But again, we're big on not making it a requirement. We're really huge on transparency and teaching agents the right thing. Yes, sometimes that means we get taken advantage, but more often than not, that finds us the right agent that we really want to work with, and that's going to do good production through us.
Yeah.
The other thing too is that, and value proposition wise, is that, remember, this is in beta. So because we have a relationship with Agency Rocket already, this is not something that's out. Like, they're not actively marketing this to other places. So use that language of, we have a limited distribution product, that we have, we're the first ones to grab hold of this because we really are. There's a handful of other places that I know that Agency Rocket works with that they kind of market this up front, but there's not a lot. So we're on a very, very short list. So we have a big opportunity to be able to talk to people before this, before it gains a little bit more market share. So use that language in your marketing then as well. But I know it's 11 o'clock. I want to get you guys out in time. I'll hang out for another 5 minutes. But those are two very simple things that we can talk about. I'm going to have this recording. Once it's done downloading, it'll go into the Praxis YouTube channel. So you can find it on there if you ever want this recording. And then, like I said, I know this is a lot. We'll shorten the recording too. We'll do another one for agents actually. And I'll let you guys know when we're going to do that webinar. Cause like I said, they're working on a couple things, but it'll probably be sometime maybe end of this month, early next month of when we'll do an agent webinar that you guys can all share that simple value proposition with and say, hey, we're doing a webinar. This is only going to be for, a limited amount of people, blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about the value proposition when we have that down, but that'll be the next thing is setting up an agent webinar for everyone then as well, that you guys can invite people to. With that said, if you guys need to jump off, jump off. Any other quick questions that anybody has, like I said, I'll hang out for 5 minutes, but I'm releasing everyone in case they need to go.
Hey, Nathan, real quick, you said the background check is taking longer than expected. Is that just because I'm such a terrible individual?
What was that?
Is that because I'm such a terrible individual?
I mean, I think they're finding out about your past life, so.
So I better get out of here before the FBI knocks on the door. Okay.
Absolutely. No, we'll keep Alexandra will keep everyone updated, but Jeff, Tiffany, Kristen, still good to see you guys are on. Any other questions about the software?
I'm good.
I just had one question. Hi.
Sounds
I had
good.
one
Bye.
question. Just wanted to find out, when are we expecting the new pricing to be available to us? Did I miss that part?
No, honestly, I'd say within the week.
Okay.
So
All
by
right.
let's say end of next week, because that's something that we've done really quickly with them in the past. So it's not going to be long, but basically you can start talking about it to people. Website has a, if you go to agencyrocket.com, they have the simple value proposition. I think you missed that at the beginning. Like they have a 20-minute video that explains how it works. So you can direct them there for right now, but then mention that we will have special pricing ourselves where they buy it.
Yeah, I have a group with probably a couple hundred people. That's why I was asking, because they already do like the infinite banking system. And I was just wondering about the pricing, because if we can beat what they're already doing, which it sounds like, because that price they already have would beat it. We need to have a conversation, Nathan.
That sounds good. Let's talk a little bit later today.
Okay.
Group that size too, like we can do an individualized webinar and say it's only those people on it.
Okay.
And like I said, we can make it more about them and stuff like that. So we can do some special things on that end. So we can start talking about that and putting that together sooner rather than later, because I know you have access to a lot of people.
All right. Appreciate it. This was good. And yeah, as far as the value, I know on the other side, anybody who would be second guessing it, I work with people on the whole life side all the time, as you know.
Yep.
And they have, like you said, they're already paying, we pay like $200 on the back end for software, but nothing that shows the implementation, and also it's so simplified there. The pictorials are pretty easy to follow. So yeah, this is perfect.
Awesome. Well, I'll shoot you a text when I've uploaded the recording to the Praxis YouTube channel. I'll send you the link because you missed the first part, so you'll at least know where it's at.
Okay, thanks.
No problem, Tiffany. I'll talk to you later. Jeff,
Have a good holiday, everybody.
that sounds good. Anything on your end, Jeff?
Nope, everything's pretty much covered.
Perfect. Well, then I will, like I said, we'll get the recording out. We'll talk about a marketing plan soon, but I appreciate your time, Jeff.
Anytime. Thanks,
You have a
Nathan.
great rest of your day.
You too. Take
All
care.
right, bye-bye.